Hello dear students, this is Anal Patni from Department of Microbiology and Biotechnology, Sivsha Institute of Sciences run by Siv Ronak Foundation and is affiliated with Gujarat University. So today we are going to study the last topic of Unit 4, that is chemotherapeutic agent as a growth inhibitor, and in that we are going to study a mode of action of different antibiotics. Let us start with general mode of action of chemotherapeutic agent. So, in the earlier session, I have already mentioned that the chemotherapeutic agents act in a general by killing or by inhibiting the growth of pathogens. So, this is achieved by various mode of actions. So, first of all, it is inhibition of protein synthesis. So, as we all know that proteins are important constituent of all living cells, and they may be structural proteins or they may be a functional proteins. So, inhibition of protein synthesis is result into the inhibition of growth of the microorganisms. Now, let us come to the another one, that is inhibition of cell wall synthesis. So, many chemotherapeutic agents are able to act by inhibiting the synthesis of peptidoglycan of bacterial cell wall. So, peptidoglycan is the principal chemical constituent of the bacterial cell wall, and inhibition of synthesis of peptidoglycan is interfere with the formation of the new cell wall. So, if new cell wall is not formed, then organism can get dead anytime. So, the next one is interfering with nucleic acid synthesis. So, we are knowing that as a proteins, nucleic acids are also a macromolecules of cells. So there are two classes of nucleic acids occurring to the cell, that is RNA, that is participated into the protein biosynthesis, and the other one is DNA, which is carries a entire genetic information of cell. So some antibiotics are able to bind with the key enzyme involved in the RNA synthesis, that is RNA polymerase. So, binding of antibiotic to the enzyme interfere with the function of the enzyme and prevent the RNA synthesis. So, RNA synthesis get not done, then inhibition of growth is occur. So the very next one is by inhibiting the specific enzyme system of the cell. And the last one is interfering with the cell membrane structure and cell membrane function. So these are the general mode of action of chemotherapeutic agents. Now let us study one by one into the detail. So, the very first, that is inhibition of protein synthesis. As we know that there are two major proteins, structural protein and functional proteins. So, the synthesis of proteins takes place on ribosome involving following major steps. So, whenever we are studying about inhibition of protein synthesis, we have to know that what is the process of protein synthesis. So, there are various steps in that. First of all, tRNA is charged by amino acids, and then mRNA ribosome complex is formed. Then amino acyl tRNA is bind with the ribosomes. So formation of peptide bond involving a peptidal transfer reaction where a new amino acid is transferred from amino acyl tRNA to a growing peptide chain, and then translocating step where deacylated tRNA is removed from ribosome and site is made vacant for new amino cycle tRNA to bind on ribosome so that the cycle leading to growth of peptide chain continues. And into the last step, release of grown peptide chain from ribosome when complete mRNA is translated. This signal for termination of protein synthesis is provided by nonsense codons of mRNA. This is followed by dissociation of ribosome and mRNA. So this is a general steps of the protein synthesis. Now this shows that if any antibiotic which can bind with the ribosome will be able to inhibit the protein synthesis. So most antibiotics are capable to inhibiting protein synthesis are able to bind either 30S or a 50S subunit of 70S ribosome of prokaryotic organisms, and eukaryotes have 60S ribosomes. So these antibiotics are not able to bind with them and hence do not interfere with their functioning. So in the table you can see that there are various examples of antibiotic which are able to inhibit the protein synthesis of prokaryotic microorganism. So the very first is aminoglycosides. So their primary effect is Siddal effect. In the earlier session we already learned about Siddal and static effect. So their mode of action is they are bind to small ribosomal subunit, that is 30S, and interfere with protein synthesis by directly inhibiting synthesis and causing misreading of mRNA. And these are the members of that antibiotic, that is neomycin, streptomycin, kanamycin and gentamicin. And it is a broad spectrum antibiotic, so it can be affected on a various group of organisms. And in this column there are various side effects are mentioned of various antibiotics. So let us come to the cell wall synthesis. So in the earlier slide I mentioned that peptidoglycan is a major component of the cell wall. So if the synthesis of peptidoglycan is inhibited by the antibiotic, then bacterial growth is also get inhibited. So if the bacteria are allowed to grow in presence of the agent that inhibit peptidoglycan synthesis, then cell will continue to grow and divide but without formation of new cell wall material. So the cells will be ultimately converted into spheroplasts and protoplasts. So these two are formation of organisms in which they do not occur or they do not having any cell wall. So spheroplasts and protoplasts are highly fragile and get lysed. So the cells growing in presence of agents like any antibiotic or any antifungal or any antiviral, they inhibit cell wall synthesis and they lysed. So peptidoglycan is found only in bacteria and not in other eukaryotic cells. So these antibiotics possess selective toxicity for the bacteria only, and it is only suitable and applicable to the bacteria. And antibiotics are usually more effective on gram-positive bacteria because they have higher content of peptidoglycan, and gram-negative bacteria do not have higher content of peptidoglycan, so they are less effective on gram-negative bacteria. So in the table you can see that there are various group of antibiotic which can inhibit the synthesis of cell wall. In that, penicillin and different generation of penicillin, cephalosporins and vancomycins. So these all are CDAL. They are not having a static effect, they have a CDAL effect. That means they have a killing effect. So if we are going to take any antibiotic from this and we suffering from any bacterial infection, then this antibiotic will kill the organisms in our body. And see, in the penicillins, mechanism of action is inhibit transpeptidation enzyme involved in cross-linking the polysaccharide chain of the peptidoglycan and activate cell wall lysis enzymes. These are various members of penicillin. You can also say that these are the various generation of penicillin antibiotic, and they have a narrow spectrum and broad spectrum, means some have a narrow spectrum characteristic and some have broad spectrum characteristics. Now in the nucleic acid synthesis interference or inhibition, there are two nucleic acids present into the cell. The one is RNA and the another one is DNA. So with the inhibition of RNA synthesis, we can know that certain antibiotics are able to bind with the key enzyme involved in RNA synthesis, and that is RNA polymerase that I already mentioned earlier. So what happened here? Antibiotic is interfering with enzyme function so that RNA synthesis is prevented. Certain antibiotics can also bind with CG pair of DNA and prevent unfolding of DNA and that is required for the transcription. So by this also antibiotic can inhibit the RNA synthesis. And in the DNA synthesis, antibiotics are able to inhibit replication of chromosomal DNA. So, by binding to the enzyme DNA polymerase that is required for the chromosome replication, and the other mechanism is binding to the GC pair of DNA and prevent its unfolding, that is very much essential for DNA replication. So, by inhibiting these two enzymes or these two processes, antibiotic can easily interfering with the nucleic acid synthesis and inhibit the nucleic acid synthesis, and they can inhibit the inhibition of microorganisms. So in this, here there are two examples given. The first one is quinolones and the second one is rifampin. The both have CDAL effect and they are narrow spectrum and as well as broad spectrum. So you can easily find these examples. Now let us come to the inhibiting a specific enzyme system of cell. So, certain antibiotics are able to bring about inhibition of the specific enzymes. So, it may be essential for the operation of specific biochemical pathway which is leading to the biosynthesis of a vital substances essential for the growth. So, inhibition of this pathway leads to the unavailability of the essential substances, like it can be a vitamin or amino acid or coenzyme or so on. So by inhibiting a specific enzyme, we can also inhibit the growth of microorganism. So there are various substances that are sulfonamides, trimethoprim, dapsone and isoniazid. So these four are antibiotic group and they have sedal or static effect on the microorganism and they can easily inhibit the microorganism, growth of microorganism. Now the last one is damaging of cell membrane structure and cell membrane function. So certain antibiotics are able to inhibit or kill the microorganism by damaging the function of cell membrane and cell function. Cell membrane structure and cell membrane function. So cell membrane is basically a selectively permeable membrane that we already studied into the standard 9th to the standard 12th, that cell membrane are selectively permeable membrane. So they are maintain a concentration of the cytoplasm by control of entry and exit of any molecules across the cell and across the membrane. So binding of antibiotic to the cell membrane, they are interfere with the permeability of the cell membrane. So like they bind to the cell membrane so that some molecules cannot come outside from the cell and some essential components cannot go inside to the cell. So there can cause a leakage of cellular molecules. So this is lead to the cell death, and these antibiotics possess toxicity to the tissues. Therefore, they have limited application in the chemotherapy agent. In that, the only example is polymyxin B, and that have a sedal effect, that is bind to the plasma membrane and disrupt its structure and permeability properties, and it is a narrow spectrum antibiotic which is effective on mycobacterial infections, and they have a kidney damage. So here you can see that it have a severe side effects. So this type of antibiotics are usually not used for the cure. So on the basis of your syllabus, there are main 4 chemotherapeutic agents which we are going to study in the detail, and they are also very much important for the exam point of view. So first one is sulfonamide, then penicillin, streptomycin and polymyxin. So these 4 are antibiotic drugs, or we can say chemotherapeutic agent, which are used to cure a disease. So let us see one by one. So let us start with penicillins, which is a very popular drug. So the first of the modern antibiotic and still one of the most useful, that is penicillin, is produced by Penicillium notatum, that is a fungus. So it is produced by Penicillium notatum, Penicillium chrysogenium and the other species of molds. So as we already see into the history of antibiotics or history of chemotherapeutic agent, which is in the earlier session. So we saw that first it is isolated by Fleming in 1929 when he found it as a contaminant on the culture plate. So Florey and his associate at Oxford University isolated the active ingredient and used the crude material clinically in 1940. So penicillin is selective for gram-positive bacteria, some spirochetes and the gram-negative diplococci. So it is rarely toxic in human patients. It may give rise to sensitivity reaction which vary from a mild skin reaction to severe anaphylaxis. So these are two major side effects of the penicillin drug. Now penicillin are a class of beta-lactam antibiotic of related structure with slightly different properties and their activities. So most of the group of penicillin have beta-lactam ring, and other group which are attached to the beta-lactam ring may vary and may differ in each group of penicillin. And this different group of antibiotic of penicillin are produced by biosynthesis in the single fermentation. So basically a natural penicillin can be prepared as salts of sodium, potassium, procaine and other bases. The crystalline sodium or potassium salt are freely soluble in water, ethyl alcohol, ether, ester and dioxazine, but only slightly soluble in chloroform and benzene. The pure glycerine form of penicillin are colorless. The natural penicillin are inactivated by heat, cysteine, sodium hydroxide, penicillinase and hydrochloric acid. So they are not affected by the action of saliva or bile. So by this reason the generation of penicillin are made. So penicillin G, penicillin V and penicillin F are a major generation of penicillin. So in that penicillin V has a greater stability than the other acid. So some of the new semi-synthetic penicillin maybe have a much more stable characteristic than the natural penicillins. So and the further they are also modified as phenethicillin, methicillin and ampicillin. So as you can see into the diagram shown into the slide that three major penicillin, that is penicillin G, V and F, they have a same amino penicillinic acid structure, but they have a different subgroup which is attached to that acid structure. On the basis of that other substructure, penicillin is differ from the each other and each generations. And a major mode of action of penicillins are they inhibit the biosynthesis of peptidoglycan and prevent the cross-linking in peptidoglycan network. So this is ultimately result in the conversion of growing bacterial cells into protoplast and their lysis. So this is how penicillin can inhibit or kill the bacterial growth. So let us come to the next one, that is streptomycin. So streptomycin is produced by Streptomyces griseus, a soil microorganism that is isolated by Scats, Berg and Waxman, who reported on its antibiotic activities in 1944. So it is particularly important because it inhibits many organisms resistant to sulfonamides and penicillins. So its antibacterial spectrum includes many gram-negative bacteria and Salmonella group of organisms. It is also inhibitory to the several species of Mycobacterium. Highly purified streptomycin is non-toxic to humans and other animals when given in the small dose, but when they are given into the higher dose, it specifically affects nervous system of animal and humans. So streptomycin is very much useful when penicillin and sulfonamides are inactive or not effective to the organisms. So this is the chemical structure of streptomycin, which is produced by Streptomyces griseus. So earlier we studied that how different mode of action of antibiotics. So streptomyces is affect to the nucleic acid synthesis and protein synthesis. So the organism's metabolic process get interfered and they cannot synthesize a protein and a nucleic acid, so that organism can be easily inhibited by the streptomycin group of antibiotics. Basically, it is a broad spectrum antibiotic and it binds to the S12 protein of 30S subunit of 70S ribosomes, and it results into the conformational change into the mRNA that are present into the ribosomes. And this leads to the stop of protein synthesis process. So this is how streptomycin works. Let us come to the last chemotherapeutic agent, which is very important for your exam, that is sulfonamides. So the mode of action of sulfonamide is directly to the enzymes. So they are the group of synthetic antimicrobial agents which are used as a drug for the treatment of infection. They were first observed by Galmo in 1908. Sulfonamides and other related compounds were studied and synthesized by Domek and other workers in 1935. So basically it is a synthetic antimicrobial agent. They are not a naturally occur. So the sulfonamides have a para-aminobenzoic acid like structure. So this para-aminobenzoic acid, that is PABA, that structure is required for many bacteria and it is used as a precursor to their synthesis of the essential coenzyme, that is tetrahydrofolic acid. So PABA, that is para-aminobenzoic acid, is a structural part of the tetrahydrofolic acid. The selective action of sulfonamides is explained by the fact that the PABA molecule and a sulfonamide molecule are so very similar that sulfonamide may enter the reaction in place of the PABA and block the synthesis of an essential cellular constituent, which is in case of THFA, that is tetrahydrofolic acid. So the cellular functions of the tetrahydrofolic acid coenzyme include amino acid synthesis, thymidine synthesis, and etc. So lack of this coenzyme will quite obviously disrupt normal cellular activity. So sulfonamides will inhibit growth of those cells which synthesize their THFA from PABA and will not interfere with the growth of those cells. So basically what happened, the PABA is replaced by sulfonamides and sulfonamides block the synthesis of tetrahydrofolic acid, so that by the inhibiting of that coenzyme, the other constituent of enzymes and coenzymes, which are amino acids, thymine synthesis, they are blocked by the sulfonamide drug. So this is the major mechanism behind the sulfonamide drug, and it can be inhibit both gram positive and gram negative organism which are able to synthesize folic acid. So with the sum up of this unit, we studied in this normal curve of organism various growth pattern of microorganisms, then various reproductive methods used by prokaryotic organisms, and chemotherapeutic agents for the inhibition of microbial growth. So I would like to thank you for the hearing me out, and if you have any query, you can anytime ask on my mail. So thank you very much.